Alright, let's do this. It looks like it's working. He's in his place. I got everything I need. At least I think I do. You got what I need. Alright. Let's do this. Wow, it's very, very hot today. It's not very, very hot. It's been hotter. It's only 75. It's just hot in my car. I talked about Orks in the last video, and the video got freaking smashed. Ork smash. Fuck. My love of Orks is like, I mean, it spans years. You know, it spans into the 1980s. And for $40K, before it was $40K, it was Rogue Trader, and they didn't really color any of their books or anything like that. I mean, it was black and white covers. I think the first time that I noticed that Orks were actually supposed to be green, because they never told us what color they were. I mean, it might have been suggested, but we don't freaking listen to freaking any of the suggestions anyway, so it could have been suggested. I'd have to go look at it. There was no green tide or anything like that. They're talking like hooligans and things like that. I mean, they just assumed that Orks were just stupid. Not that they talk like hooligans. Almost mindless in their yeah, I've been with Orks since pretty much the beginning. Before they were fungus. It's kind of funny because I have always had a special place for Robin Williams, and he has always been like, if I wanted to be a comedian, that's where I was. I mean, even when the whole stolen jokes came up. The problem is that comedians tell each other's jokes all the time. That is just the way things are. I'm sorry. It's like everybody thinks that they can come up with an original idea. This copying identically, I leave that up to that's a lawyer thing. The thing about Robin Williams and the stealing of jokes that I'm not privy to the entire thing, but I have seen him in a lot of comedy clubs, so would still do the circuit long after. But the thing about Robin Williams and that is that Robin Williams told the joke better. Robin Williams can work with material, which most people, like, and even comedians, don't even know how to work their own material. But my affection goes to Happy Days and his own television series, Mork from Mork and Mindy. And I had always thought that the Orks, I shouldn't say always, I don't know why I said that. Initially, when it was presented that they were Orks with a K, not with a C, I thought they were Orkins from the planet Ork. And I always thought it was kind of funny because Mork is an Ork god. So that tells you the level I started at. And it has pretty much always been that way. What attracted me to 40K was the fact that their initial box set, everybody wanted to be Space Marines. Well, everybody I knew wanted to be Space Marines. So they just literally had all these Ork characters. So it would always be Space Marines versus Space Marines. All the early games that I played was Space Marines versus Space Marines. And a lot of people bought that box set, even with the stand-in depth drive, which wasn't, I think it was an atrociter. I think it was what it was originally called. It might have, I'm almost sure. But it was a cardboard standee represented, on a little base. It was represent this huge machine, and it was this little base that you moved around the board. They probably were kit bashing in any other circle, but in my circle, I built the atrocity. Which later became the Death Dread. This monstrosity machine with an Ork pilot and everything like that. And Ford tanks came out and everything like that. And I actually used World War II models to build it. I kit bashed the hell out of it. When I used to go to conventions, namely a convention called ShoreCon, I would field this thing. It used up almost all my points to field it. So I would take points away from my army and just have these basically base, cannon fodder, which later they made Gretchens out of. Couldn't attack. one of the orc players was a painter who also had a Space Marine army. That's probably why I can't remember his name, because all Space Marine players were all Space Marine players. Not in my circle of friends. Also wanted to field, didn't want to use the standee, and offered to paint it. So I had one single painted figure with all these unpainted. I never painted my figures, and it became a. I think they were Games Workshop at the time. Might have still been owned by Globe Trader. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the timeline. It was that early on, but it was a sanctioned event. I believe White Wolf is the one who sanctioned it through TSR and Vasa. They sanctioned the event, and when I brought my unpainted army, they told me that I could not have an unpainted army in there. So in the parking lot with spray paint, I painted my army so I can be in the tournament. My hands were purple and yellow and all these mixture colors because I didn't use gloves and I didn't use any type of protection when I rigged this. I didn't prime it. And there were other people with paints and we painted things on it. But it was, and I lost. I lost big. I think I won one game with it, with my army, and then somebody else used my well-painted Death Dread. I'm just gonna call it a Death Dread now. I don't even remember this freaking thing. I just remember it was what a freaking mess that was. At the end, they actually created a secondary category for the awards, and I was awarded with the worst painted army at the tournament. And I don't think they ever did a worst painted army again after that, but I think they thought it was so funny. It was very orc. The fluff that everybody likes to call now was how you played them. You didn't really play. We definitely went by the orcs are never beaten. Mentality. And that really became the mainstay. Some people get it wrong. They think that orcs never lose. It's never. Orcs lose all the time. Orcs lose battles. Orcs lose all the time. In fact, orcs will lose more than they win, but they're still never beaten. And later on, the fungus thing came around, and they created a lot of the lore there. And I've always played my orcs slapdash. I built my own. I didn't stick with the little plastic things. My army basically couldn't give a shit about the Orks. They really don't care about any of their Xenos anyway, and their first Xeno was Orks, and they've never really cared about Orks. They think of them as they've always thought of them as a poor Space Marine group. It's the way they've set up their armies. They allowed for a lot of the lore to get imbued into the Ork army. The Ork army would kill itself off. There was times when we would fight in the middle of a battle. We would fight each other. In fact, you had to have a roll. There was a time when we had to have a roll where to keep our army still fighting the enemy instead of each other. We did it when the leader went down. So if you were a Space Marine at the time, all you had to do was kill off the leader. And if you killed off the leader, we would pick a new leader. And the way we pick a new leader is beat each other up. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I could play all day long, all night long. Most Space Marine players, especially in my circle, did not know what to do with this crazy Ork player. I think a couple of times, because I played in a lot of tournaments, I think a couple of times I made it to the final rounds and didn't take it. I know that there have been Ork players over the years that have been number one. Orks have actually come a long way and everything like that. Edition 8 was when I finally came back. I quit after Edition 5 into Edition 6. And Edition 7, once Edition 7 came out, and they didn't do anything. They haven't changed the Orks since Edition 4. I mean, it seemed like because the last change up what happened at the end of 4 into 5, and that was it. Because they were literally switching over, and Edition 5 became kind of like because I think they were still considered Edition 5 Orks, even though it technically came out when Edition 4 was out. There were years. It wasn't like, when Edition 8 came out, and it only lasted a year before Edition 9 came out. When they went like all psychic and craziness like that. I never really played Edition 9. I don't even know. They're probably on Edition 10 now. But it has almost nothing to do with me. Speed Freaks came out and things like that. I love it all. I love Orks. The lack of kit bashing or the taking away of kit bashing had really soured me on the game. That's really where I'm at. I've never really given Games Workshop any to do or any credence or anything like that. And I've never seen Orks as Space Marines. Ever. I like to do wacky things. I like to kit bash. And you take out the wackiness and take out the kit bashing, and the game itself has nothing left for me. To do this and calling the lore or how you play Orks fluff I started streaming, I went balls to the wall, playing the game, the local gaming place. That was what I did. I did it every free day I had. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. My problem is that I was the army that people would play against to see if their army was tournament ready. That was most of the games that I played, and I was fine with that. I want you to. I want to know everybody to know that I cherish the times that the game I want to play. The problem is that I made a deal that we would play my game, a non-tournament ready thing. Desolation, which is surprisingly aptly named for what they ended up with the game. But Desolation, which is a variant of Gorka Morka, I brought to the game and I sat there and nobody played it. When I started streaming, I created the playing with playlist, and I actually played the game of Desolation, which is, like I said, it's a variant of Gorka Morka, and it's fun. It gets out of control very quickly. It is hard to keep up with, and it would prove to be it's like I said, it's a bear to play, and especially when you're playing with yourself and you have no enemy type of thing. You have no splintering type of thing that happen. It's one versus the many. It's really difficult to keep up with it because orcs would splinter. Orcs, the one thing that they say in the lore is that if orcs got organized, they would devastate any army and any planet. They would devastate them. And the reason that they're kept in check is because they're not organized, because they got their own might is right, and they are kind of silly and stupid, and that's the reason why they don't conquer the world, because they have no ambition to conquer the world. And I like that. That kind of fits me. Kind of fits what I want to do. Listen to it. There is the "If I Was at Work" song, and that is my kind of my love letter to what I love about the Orks. It really is. It really, really is. Trade that for the world. didn't save it, so I lost it all. I'm kind of still saddened by it because I wanted to have like a freak flag flying for Flag Day, and I'm not going, you know what? Let's just put this aside. We'll do this later. Superman Day was the other day too. I told everybody to have a super day, and I thought that was kind of a cute thing, but kind of lackluster. I was surprised that Superman wasn't trending on Superman Day. And speaking about trending, Twitter is doing more crazy, stupid shit. And I just, like, every day, I want to leave it. Every day, I don't want to show off my artwork on Twitter. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want it to be the place that, my art is basically stolen or used by AI. Whatever. And I know that it's like my art is very detrimental. I think most people try to remove, if they add my art to their algorithm, they try to remove it because it really doesn't fit very well. There was a bunch of nice things said because people were talking about artists and stuff like that. Threw out a bunch of artists, threw my hat in the ring and showed off a bunch of the artists that I appreciate, and especially artists that basically define how I do my art. And I think that a lot of them realize that I want to still have fun. I want it to be, kind of lighthearted and stuff like that. It's the reason why I don't get into all the shading and bullshit. I don't really do that. And the few times that I have, it's like I'm sitting on 2 Dakimakuras that I'm working my ass off to make them spectacular, and I kind of like started to lose sight of why I do the art. I don't do the art because I want it to be something to sell. I do the art because I want to be having fun. I'm commuting to a job right now, so that in my off time I can just do the things that I want to do and not have to freaking worry about it. It's not supposed to be work. And I keep thinking, when I start putting myself into those things, because it's a mindset I had when I was actually a professional artist. And that mindset was just absolutely awful. I hated myself. There's a reason why there is a reason why I quit for 10 years. There is a reason why I didn't push very hard to stay in the entertainment thing, because just there was a parts of that I love and I missed and I adore and want to still be a part of and all that stuff. I'm not gonna say that there isn't, but the losing sight of me, watching people profit greatly off of my work and things like that, you know, um, and give very very little to me. It just never sat well with me, and always bothered me. And I'd rather not create stuff that I didn't like, that I don't want. And a lot of it's recreation, which makes me even crazier. And it sucks that I'm good at it, but freaking, it's at the same time I fucking hate it. And I want to do better. I want to do my own original work. I want to do my own stuff. And I worry, like with the Dakimakras, that here I am. Nobody sees it. Nobody, no, there's no big freaking clamoring for these Dakimakras. Nobody's freaking saying, hey, I'd like to commission you to do these Dakimakras. So I don't have a time limit. I don't have a time frame. They're fan. That's my fan art. And I definitely think that there is correlation between what happened with the pirates to what's going on with these two Dakimakras, which I've now sat on for over a year. The project that I have set up this time, very selfish, but I'm having more fun doing this than I was doing the Dakimakras. That's why I'm doing it. All right, I'm at work. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a fantastic time doing it. I hope you're having a great day. It's the weekend. It's Saturday. I apologized for the Wednesday freaking missing, and I really wish I had it. And there, as always, cool beans in the comments below. That's only if you don't know what to write. If you want to write something, you want to ask a question, you want to just comment on something, you don't have to blow smoke up my ass. You don't have to basically, make me, talk about like how great of an artist I am or anything like that, or this. But if you want to talk about, want to talk about Orks, oh my God, I could talk days on Orks. If you want to talk about anything else, just put the comments in. I will make a video probably about it. I do sometimes. I do a lot of the time. Things that people say to me, comments that people make, I do talk about them here. That's how it is. All right. So take care of yourself. Be very well. All right.